Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a Eastern Kentucky school is working to stop vaping within its campus. And a group called Help the Homeless is preparing for winter before the cold settles in.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 6:31 on October 10th. Now let's check in with meteorologist Evan Hatter for a look at your forecast this morning. And we're staying pretty steady this morning with that fog, Evan. But once that clears out and those temperatures warm up just a little bit, it's going to be a great day.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to have to deal with that fog at least until it burns off a little bit later on this morning. But once it does, plenty of sunshine and beautiful conditions as we head into the afternoon. Here's a look at those visibility numbers, and they are low. Visibility of just, well, 0. Logan and Pikeville, Harlan, Jonesville, Middlesboro this morning. Somerset 0. Williamsburg just a mile, and London Corbin Airport down to 2 miles right now. There's the view from the Pikeville Medical Center camera. You can see the fog overhanging downtown right now, down the road toward Jenkins along US 119, US 23. Yeah, they're dealing with some fog there. Not quite as bad where the lights are, but it is rough in some spots. Here's the view from downtown Whitesburg, 48. And as you get closer to the river, yeah, you can see that fog right there in downtown Whitesburg. We continue to see plenty of cool air, low to mid 40s this morning. We'll quickly get into the 50s and eventually the 60s as we head into this afternoon. Next 12 hours, again, starting in near 40. We're back into the 50s and eventually middle and upper 60s as we head into the afternoon. More of that to come, along with showers looming. Those details a little bit later on. Olivia?
All right, Evan, thank you. 3 people are facing charges after a traffic stop in Corbin. Sunday, Corbin police conducted the traffic stop on US 25E. After a search of the vehicle, officers found suspected meth and other narcotic pills. 54-year-old Jeffrey McDaniel of London was taken into custody, as well as 32-year-old Ricky Neely of London and 39-year-old Ashley Cole of Corbin. All 3 were taken to the Knox County Detention Center. One person has been sent to a hospital following a crash in Knox County. East Knox Volunteer Fire Department responded to a crash Sunday night. They say a car went off the road along Walker Road off Kentucky 223. One person was flown to UK Hospital. Their condition is not known at this time. New data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration finds Kentucky has the 3rd lowest rate of deadly speed-related crashes. The latest report claims Kentucky had more than 730 deadly collisions in 2021. Speed was a factor in 41 of them. The administration found that rate is nearly 68% below the national average. Police say that number is still too high.
That's 41 people that lost their life for speeding. I'd like to see that number at 0.
The NHTSA report says Hawaii comes in at number 2 and Idaho at number 1 with the lowest proportion of deadly crashes involving speed. Governor Andy Beshear ordered flags to be lowered at half staff starting this morning to honor the innocent lives lost in Israel. Jeremy Toms talked with a UK professor about the instability in the Middle East and the decades-long conflict that led up to the war.
Dr. Farley begins around the turn of the 20th century with heavy immigration into the area of then Palestine.
Later on, you get an independent Jewish state. There are several wars. Those wars result in the Jewish state coming to occupy 2 large regions. Those are the West Bank and the Gaza Strip.
Dr. Farley says in 2005, elections were held in both those regions, with radical Islamist group Hamas becoming the Palestinian Authority in Gaza.
Hamas is dedicated pretty strongly to the destruction of the Israeli state. Israel has undertaken a policy of basically isolating the Gaza Strip as much as possible. And that means a literal large wall around Gaza. It means a virtual wall along Gaza's seacoast.
He says that's led to conflicts in the years since, but nothing on this level.
Hamas has launched an attack of unprecedented scale in southern Israel.
As the attacks worsen and the death toll mounts, it's left people of all backgrounds in shock. And Dr. Farley says it's okay to be horrified by what's happening right now, on both sides.
We don't have to say that the two sides are equivalent. It's a really complicated issue on both sides. There is justice on both sides. There is horror on both sides, and really, I mean, it's just an unfortunate and horrible situation for the people who have to live through it right now.
That was Jeremy Toms reporting. Diplomatically, Dr. Farley notes much of the response globally has been to show solidarity for Israel. But as they lead an offensive into Gaza in response, he anticipates that could change. Homeless advocates are gearing up for the winter months in Somerset. Help the Homeless is an organization that is looking for more resources as the temperatures begin to drop. President and founder Jessica Luster says anything helps as far as donations of money or items. She adds that it is important to be the voice for those experiencing homelessness.
Our unhoused neighbors need us. Several of them are unable to speak for themselves, or they feel as if their voice has been silenced. And I think that for our elderly citizens, we have a lot of children, people in the recovery community, they need someone to stand up and be a voice for them and let our local elected officials know they're important too.
Luster says they are looking to have more warming shelters for the upcoming winter months for folks to be able to use during major cold snaps like we experienced last December. One school system has installed e-cigarette detectors in hopes of stopping student vaping. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox talked to the school administration police chief about how vaping has become a tough issue to tackle.
E-cigarettes are becoming harder and harder to find for school administrators.
Now we're seeing vapes in many everyday items, whether it be the strings in a child's hoodie or vapes that look like a highlighter or makeup or a watch or ink pen. I mean, they're disguised in so many different ways.
There are tactics Harlan County Schools has implemented trying to crack down on vapes in classes.
We have vape detectors that are installed in all of our school bathrooms at the high school, many of our bathrooms in the elementary schools. Our staff are vigilant in observing these students.
Administrators take them away at first sight when found, and students can be subject to disciplinary action, but they are also working to educate students about how dangerous they can be.
All of our students have had vaping discussions in their classes. We had a big assembly for all of our high school students, all of our middle school students last week to talk about the dangers of vaping.
Cope says he feels they are battling against marketing tactics enticing kids to start vaping.
They're marketing these things to kids, you know, on the narrative that it's a safe alternative to cigarettes, and it's there's all these flavors that they're able to get in on.
Finding ways to make schools a healthier space. In Harlan County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Matt Cope also said police agencies fear vapes could be laced with fentanyl as cases involving the powerful drug have increased. One nationwide organization made its way to the Lost Creek community this week. The group of volunteers is with the nonprofit Make a Smile, and they are working to build a playground and restore the ball field that was damaged during the July 2022 floods at Riverside Christian School. Make a Smile partner Michael Hines says they are focused on the kids in the community.
Basically to create a healthy, safe environment for the kids to come and enjoy and be safe. A lot of times they're overlooked, so in natural disasters, the homes, the businesses, FEMA gives that a lot of attention, but the children don't have anything.
Hines says the Lost Creek project is roughly a $100,000 donation from Make a Smile to the community. The volunteers are expected to have everything completed within 4 to 5 days. The candidates for Kentucky Secretary of State appeared together on KET last night, and it revealed some differences. Republican incumbent Michael Adams is running for re-election, and he's being challenged by former Democratic State Representative Charles Buddy Wheatley of Northern Kentucky. Appearing on Kentucky Tonight with Renee Shaw, the two tangled over several issues, including Wheatley's assertion that Adams supports rules that suppress voting.
He just makes up this crazy stuff about this myth of suppression. You know who disagrees with him? Andy Beshear. Andy Beshear is running a campaign for re-election bragging about all we've done to expand voting rights the last 4 years. Well, I had a lot to do with that. So when someone says that I'm slamming the door in voters' faces and someone says I'm a suppressor and I'm cutting funding and all this other stuff, it's just false.
Mr. Wheatley, are you being disingenuous in how you're characterizing
Absolutely
Secretary
not.
Adams?
You know, there are people who called Michael Adams' treatment of the 2022 election in his own party called voter suppression. And these allegations that he is just ripping off here is just unfounded, not true.
Also on Kentucky Tonight, Sierra Enlow, the Democratic nominee for Agriculture Commissioner, answered questions. Republican Jonathan Schell declined to appear on the program.
Watching those foggy conditions out there still. With those visibility numbers, we've come up a little in London. We're now at 7 miles, but just 1 mile visibility. Williamsburg, Middlesboro, and Jonesville, so we're slowly improving. Still 5 miles in Jacksboro, even lower elsewhere. And there's Hazard now checking in with just 1 mile visibility. That's a little more like it. So don't forget those dense fog driving tips. Turn on those low beams, drive slowly with caution, and make sure you don't pass somebody unless it's absolutely necessary moving forward through the day. Temperatures low to mid 40s out there this morning, so it is a little bit of that fall chill out there. We've actually come down a little bit. Jonesville at 37 right now. It's chilly to start as we work through your bus stop forecast yet again this morning. Again, it's going to be foggy to start with those temperatures in the upper 30s, low 40s, eventually mid and upper 60s as we head into the afternoon. Excellent conditions, and more of that's on the way, at least for now. The details on when some showers could return in a few minutes. Olivia?
Thanks, Evan, and thank you for joining us. The time is now 6:42. Still to come on Mountain News this morning. The American death toll grows in Israel as the battle with Hamas militants runs into its 4th day.
Stop forecast sponsored by Big Sandy Heating and Cooling, the king of comfort.